Hey guys, in today's video we're going to learn how to make positive, negative and question sentences in the present tense. This is super important, so let's get into it. Alright guys, so let's start with the verb to be. The positive sentence is you are happy. The negative sentence would be you are not happy. And we can squish together the are not and we say aren't. You aren't happy. To make a question, we flip the subject and the verb and we say are you happy? So the positive is you are happy, the negative is you aren't happy, and the question we flip and say are you happy? If the person was my brother, we would say positive, my brother is happy. The negative would be my brother isn't happy. So again, we put the not after the verb is not, and then we squish and say isn't. My brother isn't happy. And the question we flip and say is my brother happy? So guys, let's practice. I'll say the positive and you think what the negative and the question should be. So if the positive was my parents are here, what would be the negative? Well, to make negatives, we put the not after the verb. So we say, my parents are not here. And then we can squish together the are not and say aren't. My parents aren't here. And how would we say this as a question? So the positive is, my parents are here. And to make a question, we flip the subject and verb and say, are my parents here? So with the verb to be, it's super easy. You put not after the verb to make the negative, and you flip the subject and verb to make a question. Alright guys, now let's look at how it works with all other verbs. For example, with the verb to want. The positive would be you want a drink. The negative would be you don't want a drink. So to make negative sentences, we put the word don't before the verb. You don't want a drink. And if it was a he, she, or it, we put doesn't before the verb. So we would say, my brother doesn't want a drink. And to make a question, it's really easy. You just put the word do in front of the positive sentence. So the positive sentence is you want a drink. So to make a question, we just add do. Do you want a drink? And if the person is a he, she, or it, then we put does at the beginning. So if the positive is my brother wants a drink, then the question would be, does my brother want a drink? Now, something really important here is you will notice in the positive, we say my brother wants a drink with the S on the end, my brother wants. But in the question, we say, does my brother want? And there's no S on the end. And that's because the S is already in does. And we only have one S per clause. A clause is like a mini sentence. So we say, does my brother want a drink? We always only have one S, and it's in the does. Does he want a drink? Alright guys, so let's practice it. I'll say the positive and you think what the negative and the question should be. So the positive is my parents love me. So what would be the negative? So remember, to make negative sentences, we put don't before the verb. The verb is love, so we will say my parents don't love me. That's a negative sentence. And how about a question? Remember, to make a question, we just put do at the beginning of the sentence. So the positive is my parents love me. So the question is, do my parents love me? Super easy, just put do at the beginning of the sentence. Let's do one more example with Ryan, our camera guy. So the positive is, Ryan lives in Prague. So what would be the negative sentence? So remember, Ryan is a he. And with he, she, it, we put doesn't before the verb. So the negative would be Ryan doesn't live in Prague. And remember, we don't say he doesn't lives because you can't have two S's. The S is in does, so the next verb has no S. Ryan doesn't live in Prague. And to make a question, If it's a he, she, or it, we put does at the beginning of the sentence. So the positive is Ryan lives in Prague, and the question will be, does Ryan live in Prague? Again, we don't say does Ryan lives because we don't have two S's, only one S, and the S is in does. So does Ryan live in Prague? Alright guys, so that is how we make positive, negative, and question sentences with to be and with all other verbs in the present tense. Remember to download the Speak Like Me app to learn all the vocab that you need and listen to the Speak Like Me podcast for some advanced listening practice. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys. The links for everything are in the description, and I'll see you in the next video.